Let's turn our attentions to Sunday night as a new starting quarterback, CJ Carr, leads Notre Dame into play Miami. But what's our latest on? I know we've had some injury watch, some availability watch. What's the latest in terms of JoJo Trader, the rest of the pass catching options, and sort of what we're expecting from the Hurricanes, now led by Carson Beck?
I think Trader's going to play. I also think that the line on this game says Trader's going to play. If you told me Trader was out, there's no way this game is trading at 50 or 49.5. Like if Trader is the guy that the guys on Miami's team, when we saw him at various events, because there's a lot of sponsored events and stuff, like that's the guy that the players on Miami's team circled as the dude that has to be the dude. Malachi Toney was the freshman impressing, kind of little undersized freshman, real good quicks, but still a true freshman. I think like my guy thinks Trader's healthy and will go. So like that's he said number 0 was at the scrimmage catching balls. So I like that was 10 days ago. I think Trader's good. I think at some point, if he wasn't good, this word would have gotten out. This game would be like 47, not 49.5, 50. If you want to just read the market. So the chat says 24/7 Insiders also said he's good to go. Good. Yeah. Like that matches up there.
Also, thanks to the tailgate, Garrett was at ECU 2013, 2015. So got that.
Ball Chip.
DK, what do we think?
I'm looking at this matchup, and I'm looking specifically at how Miami's defense holds up against Notre Dame's offensive line and Jeremiah Love. Like they've got to take their chances. If they can't do it with regular numbers, they've got to load up the box and say, all right, CJ Carr, you beat us. Like that's a first-time starter on the road. I would expect them to try to do everything in their power to shut down Jeremiah Love. And if they hold up and they're able to do that, I think they win this game outright. Now, that's a bigger question mark, even with some of the additions in the defense and new defensive coordinator with Corey Heatherton coming in. I still think that's the biggest question mark of the game. Because if they're able to dominate the line of scrimmage and shut down Jeremiah Love, I do not expect CJ Carr to be able to come out there and just light them up and win this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations early in the year. It's like Miami, you would think, has an advantage here in that, this is Carson Beck's first game with Miami, but sure as hell isn't his first game. It's not, it's so at home with the experienced quarterback, very good offensive line, going against a Notre Dame team that's got a, kid that hasn't started before on the road, like going up against a very good defensive front. Secondary, we've heard plenty of good things about Miami this offseason. They seem to be, pleased with what they've gotten so far, but until the rubber meets the road, we don't really know. But I don't know if we're going to find out in this matchup, because I think Danny's right. I think if you're Notre Dame, your plan is to take as much, don't put too much on Carr's plate. And maybe that would be different, or maybe it was all just, cloak and dagger. Maybe the reason that they weren't naming the quarterback situation still so late in camp was they were so confident in CJ Carr that they wanted Miami to think that, hey, this guy's, whatever. And now they're going to come out and he's going to be throwing the ball all over the place. He's going to be the Heisman winner, blah, blah, blah. Maybe. But I think it's far more likely you're going to lean on your run game. And I think that that's just kind of what Notre Dame's identity was last year. It worked very well for him. You didn't, you ran the ball. Of course, you had more of a running quarterback, but it was just really good defense, solid offense, hit some explosive plays, put points on the board, and keep the other team from scoring. You're going to see a similar approach, because I still think this Notre Dame defense is going to be very good. I think that offensively, you're going to be leading, the run game could be very good. It could be really tough in this game, though, because I really do think Miami's front seven is solid and could make life really difficult for the Irish. So I expect this to be something, I don't want to say rock fight, because that would be I don't think it's going to be that, but in this game where nobody does shit is how I feel like, and it's going to be a great time to take the live over. So if it's the second quarter,
So like one of those rock fights where it can actually be a good game, but because there's not going to be touchdowns, you're going to see the reaction of like, oh my God, this game sucks.
You're going to see like 4 consecutive 3-and-outs at some point in this game.
Yeah. But do you see it that way?
I do. People who I think would know in the media space seem to be very high on Carson Beck. So I think there is a real chance Miami hit on Beck, and that maybe Beck is back to the level that he was when Georgia was very high on him. Receivers remain a question. I'm curious what tempo Miami plays at. Like last year, they were markedly more up tempo with Cam Ward. I think he was comfortable with that. at times we had heard from Georgia that Beck was comfortable playing tempo as well. But is Mario comfortable with all that tempo? I mean, I think you got an offensive line that you spent a boatload of money on for good reason. You've hit on a lot of those highly rated players who you signed. You developed them. You got a stable of backs who you like an awful lot. I'm trying to pound the rock right at Notre Dame if I'm Miami too. Like I think Notre Dame's secondary is a good bit better than Notre Dame's like defensive tackle unit. So I think you're going to get a whole lot of duo in this game.
So
why the hell is Mario Cristobal going to be in the box?
Yeah.
I thought that was fake.
Is it fake? I just saw like it was being like I can't remember who reported it, but it didn't look like a fake account.
Wait, so they're saying Mario is going to be upstairs?
When I saw it, the guy had like 200 followers, and his name was like.
I'm saying that's no way.
Saying it's fake. Okay.
I'm saying there's no way that's real.
Yeah.
Because I saw that and I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, now that you
I got Centelled or whatever.
Yeah.
I think so, but I don't. The thing is, this guy is. The username was Brady Montana on 3. We only have 2 people in common who follow him, and none of them are Notre Dame people. So I'm guessing if you and he's allegedly a Notre Dame reporter. I think that's fake.
That's like the no 3 accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A reputable reporter retweeted it into my timeline, so I took it seriously.
Oh my gosh.
So the reason why I guess now I should have been more tipped off to this being obviously fake was the explanation, according to the fake report, was I'm going to be up in the booth so I can focus on game management. So it was clearly a troll job.
Yes.
That
should have been the first giveaway.
That should have been the first giveaway. No, but Danny, then like Alex Miraball's going to be like running on the sideline. I was like, good for him. You know, man's built one of the best offensive lines in the country year over year. Like, let's see, let's give him a shot. Okay, good.
The only way you're up in the booth or upstairs is if you're coming off surgery and you're a hospital bed still. That's the only way it's excusable. And
that's
give
the
the
other
old thumbs up.
No one took the time to see if it was real or not because everyone was rushing to their photo folder to grab the Hugh Freeze and just be able to continue the jokes from that game. What was that? Syracuse Liberty, right? Because Dino's on the other side giving him the thumbs up from the field. Oh, good stuff. Good memories. It just how about this? If Miami cannot stop the run, Notre Dame will execute its plan. You know, I don't. You control the ball. I do think it'll be a good crowd environment. I also think a lot of Notre Dame fans are going to be there. You know, like Miami got community noted. They put out there like last time the Irish rolled into Hard Rock Stadium, things didn't go so well. And it was like, didn't they win 27-24 against Penn State in the semifinals in Hard Rock Stadium? Pretty sure that their fans and, you know, the team are comfortable. They don't get spooked rolling around the halls.
The other thing too, there will be opportunities. Like that's where I think if you are sold out to stopping Jeremiah Love, you've got some pretty good receivers. Greathouse has been a big playmaker, and they gave up a bunch of big plays last year. The secondary is filled with portal players. Like, can they correct some of those big plays that they gave up last year? But that's where I think you've got to pick your spots. You try to do a big play action pass over the top. Those are pretty simple reads and good protections for a quarterback. So that's the one thing to keep an eye on is if Notre Dame hits on a couple of those, like that could be bad for for Miami as well.
Ryan in the chat, big Notre Dame fan and a super diehard fan of the show, asked, where is Miami better than Notre Dame?
Quarterback, as far as we know.
Quarterback certainly could be one.
I don't think that's good. That is a yes.
I could say offense. I think offensive line could be argued, but I could also come back and argue Notre Dame the same way. D tackle.
I'd say D-tackle.
I think you might be able to make a real case that Miami's better at D tackle.
Is that what David Blay? Is that the Louisiana Tech guy?
Yeah, they liked him a lot. Justin Scott's a second-year guy for them who they're very high on. I don't think Notre Dame has the top half of the draft dudes at D tackle.
Because they lost like
40-year
starters, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, exactly.
I also think as a whole that Miami's defensive line is probably a little stronger than Notre Dame's too.
It's possible that Notre Dame's ends are really, really making a jump from where they were last year. They had some young guys who had some real upside there. So I can probably
Bain and Mesidor coming off. Like Bain needs to live, he needs to stay healthy and needs to live up some of the expectations. He's expected to have a huge year this year, but production hasn't matched the talent yet. But if it
Yeah.
comes together, Mesidor and him could be pretty nasty coming off the
Mhm.
edge.
I would agree with that. I think Miami has more upside on the D line, but I don't know that it's all the way there yet.
I don't know if we'll see it on Sunday.
Yeah. Right.
Also, you talk about bet going tempo. Georgia liked it. Wasn't that part of the comeback against Alabama? They get in that huge hole against Alabama, and then they're just like, all right, listen, we just got to get out there and let it rip. They remembered how inexperienced Alabama's secondary was, and, that's how they came back and made it a game before Ryan Williams ended up putting that thing away for the Crimson Tide.